Oh, welcome back, all you four-color funny book aficionados. This is US Comics Cast, HQ for all things comic book connected. We are John and Charlie Rivera, co-founders of US Comics. Charlie, happy comic book day-ish.
Happy comic book day-ish to you and to everyone listening and watching live today. As always, we are brought to you by Bad Mary Band and Sergeant Finesse Gaming. If you haven't done so already, please smash that like button. Like poor Fall Guy's life is depending on it. He may not be Ken, but that motherfucker got blown up. He got stabbed, got thrown against a rock, got dragged behind some shit. A ninja girlfriend tried to chop his head off.
It wasn't a great day.
It wasn't a great day.
Before
we dive into that, how was your day? We are coming a day late. We're a day and an hour later than normal.
Right. That's accurate.
Which was great for me because I got
25 hours.
I got to watch a show. You wound up showing up at the Fortress condo, and you were like, "Hey, let me tell you about my day." And I'm like, "I got Wednesday programming. I haven't been able to watch AAW at like a normal person time in forever."
He put me right on the pain on my list.
I did spend the entire day just waiting for the podcast though. Since from 8 o'clock yesterday, I was like, I should be telling people their new opinion. Because that's how I treat the show.
Well,
this is an educational program.
And by people, do you mean me or do you mean people outside of the
Are you saying that you're not people?
Depends on the day.
It does depend on the day. How was your day overall?
It was good.
Were you like chomping at the bit for a fucking podcast?
It was a busy day, but also as well as when you go too long without espousing unjustified opinions, you start getting a little bit antsy. So yeah, I was ready to go.
See, my gig, there's enough nerds that I can let off steam. Where I'm just like, hey, you hear about Darkseid? Just out of fucking nowhere.
Nobody asked you, why do you sit so far behind me that I can only turn around almost. I look like I'm backing out of a fucking driveway.
I like it
when I talk to you.
At least we had like a half hour.
I know that you do.
Let me ask you this question: how great is it being able to go to movies with me now that you have like more of a fixed schedule? You and I hit the fucking. We painted the town yellow.
Yeah. No, we did. So Charlie's less than subtle segue. We caught. What was it, like a weekday or weekday evening? Maybe.
It was a weekday. I took you on a date.
Yeah, just like, oh, man, and
then made you pay half. I'm like, give me $20.
He's handsy as fuck. But yeah, so we caught the Fall Guy at the movie theater, which is undeniably the best place to go and watch a movie.
I didn't even have to yell at anyone.
Movie. I mean,
I considered it. There was that one person taking their phone real bright. I thought, even before we dive into the movie itself, I really fucking love a introduction from the cast or director. Fall Guy, it's this. I used to think it was the cheesiest shit. I don't know if it's just like being at a movie, delicious warm popcorn, nice frothy beverage, access to alcohol. If the movie's bad, I can run out of concession, come back with booze. There's something charming when they're having a piss. For this one, Ryan Gosling was like, if you have to be on your phone, make sure it's fucking muted and hide under your jacket. Yeah. Does it ruin the fucking
if the monkeys
from Planet of the Apes are like, hey, make sure that you,
as an individual who is professionally in the theatrical world.
Oh no, you're gonna drop your fucking pro status.
No, but to be honest, it to me it breaks a wall. It's like, hey, I know you're playing a role. I know that that's not you having these adventures.
Gotcha.
But when they drop in and they're kind of winking to the camera, fuck off. That could have been done. Again, zero segue. So this, for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, it starts with the director of said movie and Ryan Gosling having this little conversation, and this is before the flick begins. So we're meant to believe for maybe 2 hours Ryan Gosling is this cat who's a stuntman in Hollywood. Nobody knows his face. He's meant to be invisible and all of these other plot points. But they're going to shatter that before you even settled in your ass crack into the reclining chairs. they have shattered that for a couple of real dumb, like dad jokes. To do what? Like, what was so important in that message that couldn't wait?
Well, the message is so you feel like you're friends with them and you'll keep going to the movie. But that is the goal. The goal is like, please come here.
Then do something. Do it with other stars.
What if it was another movie cast?
In this movie?
What if it was
doesn't have to be an entire movie cast? It could be other.
What if it was Margot Robbie in the bathtub?
Yes.
What if it's always? What if it's always Margot Robbie in the bathtub?
Yes.
That would work for you.
Yeah.
We fixed Hollywood.
I want a Margot Robbie shaped bathtub.
Oh my god!
Now that we're just floating things out there,
you take a lot of baths. I feel like you take more.
I'd take 10 times more. I'd be in the bath right now. I'd be podcasting from the tub. I'm just realizing now. Charlie's trash. Fucking. What a monster!
What are you talking about? There's no
absolute worst guy that I know.
Well, you don't like when I compliment you, so I'm complimenting me because I
like that worse.
I am the greatest podcaster alive, and you're John. He is just John podcasting with his hat on. I looked at myself just now. So the movie itself,
you shouldn't have.
Ellis mad that he's in building with bad reception.
Ellis, no!
You're with us, Ellis. I did not realize that this was a remake. Nope, he's mad at me.
Check over here.
I'm young.
Table 0.
I'm young. I don't have right out of the gate.
Contrary to what everybody believes, Charlie's apparently young. That truly.
This is proven by youth. I get boozy with seltzer. What did you think about the casting? Like, you knew right out of the gate?
So,
like, did you see Fall Guy back in the day? And you were like, this is my jam.
Not only did I see Fall Guy, granted, not in its original run, but in syndication.
You sure about
that? Yes. In syndication. And also, as a child, it was awesome watching shows like that. Because like, ooh, this is for adults and I'm a little baby. So it was those are great.
It's a John quote.
That was like Knight Rider before Knight Rider. That was Airwolf was Knight Rider before Knight Rider. Yeah. But shows like that, those were not intended for children. But there was like 4 channels. Like fuck it, we'll syndicate anything. Great. So watching that show, and really more to the point, having the toy. I had the brown Fall Guy truck.
So was it the same gimmick? He was a stuntman who
he was a stuntman that had adventures, bro. Nice. Like you got to anything that
sounds fucking awful.
Anything that you put before comma that solves it, like Murder She Wrote,
which was what our old broad with the typewriter that solves mysteries.
Dude, typewriters weighed like 112 pounds back then. If she clocks you, forget about Misery. Like if she got a hold of you with one shot of that, it's over.
From Ellis over on Facebook, Jonas like, if the Fall Guy does well, maybe I can finally get that Hardcastle and McCormick revival I've been asking for. I'm so young. I'm so diabolically young. I do not know what those words mean in that order. Good old Nancy chiming in that we are correct.
Speak it into existence. So I caught the show not with any regularity.
Gotcha.
But if it was on, actually more to the point, as a 1 TV household, if Dad felt like watching it, John was gonna watch it.
Fair enough. So when you heard that they were doing a movie, do you bump into that at all, or is Fall Guy not like? Because some people, we live in a world. The comic book world is one where one day they're gonna be like, they cast new Thanos, and a bunch of people are going to be fucking furious.
Sure, of course.
There's going to be people, we live in such a stupid version of reality right now. There are people who clamored for an Amazing Spider-Man 3, and then they returned it. They returned it to theaters, and it made no fucking money. Amazing Spider-Man 1, all the Spider-Man movies going back to theater, that movie made 11 cents. So was this sacred?
Who the fuck keeps record of that? Why do you know that?
I look at box office stuff all the time.
What's interesting about that to you?
I mean, I'm able to drop it anecdotally in the show.
Fear that you're like, oh no, I hope Spider-Man makes enough fucking money this weekend so we get more Spider-Man, a character that he despises.
First and mostly, the accuracy of your statement is offensive. I just thought it's interesting for this show. I'm so sorry that I failed with my wonderful drop.
You care too much.
That's true. That's fine. I go to therapy for that. So was this sacred ground, or is this just
No.
like redo this shit?
Fuck no, bro.
Make another Starsky and Hutch.
It was
Start
this.
throwing shit at this.
It was really. You doing what now?
Fall Guy.
Really?
And then they're like, we're picking
actually
that super handsome guy.
You know,
I hate this pose. You're doing such a power pose.
I'm like,
you look like you're terminating someone at work.
I will say this. I will say this. With the propensity for remakes to take a shot at the source material, that concern did come up because again, like a Starsky and Hutch. Or,
like, isn't this fucking dumb? This concept,
like anyone who liked this once or ever is a fucking douchebag. You're like, oh, why did I pay money to get
for Dukes of Hazzard? They were like, and racist.
Oh my god! I mean, kind of true, but like racism was still cool back then. We didn't know.
Cousin Paul has a great drop in joining us from YouTube. You got your Hardcastle and McCormick right here, baby. John and Charlie Rivera are.
You admitted.
Yeah, no.
Ago,
but
you've never seen.
Let me ask the question.
Hardcastle.
Can I ask a question? Are those not the two leads?
That's a good point.
So I'm one of the leads?
They're the title characters.
I'm so sorry. I'm not sure if I've said it enough after 5 seasons of this show. We're on the 15th episode of season 5 of this fucking podcast, John. I will sell out at the first chance I get.
Yeah, we know. We know.
I keep calling your new job. I'm like, I'd like to save $100.
But yeah, no, sincerely, that was my concern above any kind of casting or anything like that. Was don't take the piss out of me. Like don't make this a gag.
Would that have bugged you?
Yeah, of course.
Just because you had the toy.
Of course.
Also because it's just a shitty gag.
The toy, which supersedes any other element of fandom. Oh, I have a whatever. Did you have the toy? Then you're legit or you're not legit.
I wish that. I feel like when Toys R Us went away, so did the opportunity for like bad toy tie-ins. There should be a Fall Guy, one
KB.
Give me one Fall Guy action figure for this new movie.
Well, nowadays it would be a 6-inch ultra fucking deluxe can move in ways that
you can fucking can't. You can hurt his back.
You cracked like fucking
bone crunching action
on an ear. Thumb falls off.
I had a really fucking good time. It felt like
not to fucking
Free Guy.
Not to what's the opposite of bearing the lead? Not to delay inevitably the lead. Yeah, man, I had a fucking great time too. I really did.
And I was worried at a certain point because I do feel like to get my pretension points on, I do feel like there's a lull in the middle. But the two fucking leads are such Charm City motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I wanted to see these two like cuddle.
I know what you wanted to see.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
what a monster.
I don't think there's been a Ryan Gosling film yet where I've been like, I hope he fucks that chick. I root for Ryan Gosling's dick more than mine. Every movie he has fucking charisma and charm with everybody. Is that weird? Am I doing that thing where I'm disappointed again?
Little bit.
Did the movie use the theme?
You're like, oh, I hope he fucks Steve Carell. Yeah. They've got such good chemistry.
Fun fact, they did have such good. If that movie ended with him being like, one side, you bitch, waxing his chest. Did the movie use the theme song?
At the end. Nice. So again,
I was wondering why they just drop a shitty song. I was just like, what a weird choice. All right.
How very dare you?
I apologize.
That shit is the fucking banger, son.
I thought that was like some weird country song that just existed.
Listen to the lyrics. Yeah. It's basically him smashing every late 70s, early 80s era.
Was that what the show was?
Yeah.
I'm buying the show.
It's like, I just fucked Farrah. And this, like, he just runs through. I'm like, yo, this guy's crazy. He doesn't put nani.
And I am buying that shit on Blu-ray. That's good to know.
It was, and again, I won't spoil where, but the one thing that was really formulaic with one of these, like, remakes, they try to pepper in, cameo here and there. I mean, they did it with, apparently they did it, I don't know, I've never seen the movie, but 2016, Ghostbusters, apparently they did something similar.
Yeah. All the time, that's fucking half the runtime.
I don't.
They're like, remember the better thing?
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, Norse, thank God.
You'll have to tell me.
I know you think this should make me feel bad, but I'm just grateful that my brother didn't get hurt.
I'm just letting the people know kind of like where I stand morally and what have you. But yeah, no.
Where I stand morally.
Yeah.
Be like, I believe in Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
and I will never sully my eyeballs in 2016 Ghostbusters.
I believe a woman's body is her right.
Exactly.
I'm not running for office.
Especially if that body is inconveniently located. Like, bring that to me instead. I like this plan.
If it showed up in the theme song to Fall Guy, then it should be protected. No, so you do get the cameo from
Lee Majors,
who most people just
fucking pimp.
really know from The Night That Santa, whatever.
Yeah. So I'm so stupid. I just thought the gag was like Lee Major needed stuntmen. Like that motherfucker does not seem like a dude who did his own stunts.
He did, but
I imagine Lee Major, they cut away and he's like punching someone, and the last minute it's like a different ethnicity guy punching that. Like, I do not think Lee Majors did much other than fuck and vaguely read his lines. Well,
I mean, yeah.
That's the book I read.
I mean, those, yeah.
And by read,
yes,
I mean listen to.
Yes, the two. But to get back to your point, because we are woefully off track. The movie could have been anything. You could have wrapped up that concept with anything and just kind of like counted on the undeniable charisma of your two leads. But they didn't do that. They didn't take the easy way. They didn't cut to the stuntman, like, who looks very different, has a different haircut, different ethnicity, whatnot. No, they took all that stuff very, very seriously. So it played like a entertaining movie with a plot that you haven't seen a million times before, was well thought out, was well performed, but also, as well as, and for me, was very I didn't expect that, but that's great. A fucking love letter to the hardest working motherfuckers in the cinema business, stuntmen and women.
The director was a former stuntman.
They fucking went way out of their way.
They put together a tremendous team.
It was a love letter.
And
what
I really love, and this isn't a spoiler, but the end credits shows you.
It's not a spoiler, but this is how it ended.
When Ryan Gosling dies, he gets amnesia, because he was in that movie, right? The Amnesia Lady movie, the one. I'll wait for you to think. The Notebook is what I was thinking of. He's from the What Do You Want? Because she's all fucking fire. No, is that not a great way to define the movie? The end credits are amazing because you see what stunts Gosling did. Yeah. But you see, like, what goes into that. There's an amazing sequence. I think it's in the trailer, but I won't risk ruining it. There's an amazing sequence involving cars and Ryan Gosling. And to see the, like, harness that he's legitimately strapped into and going, at full tilt. But
was that it for you, or was it the role?
The role was the fact there is a.
Don't give it away. I was very.
I don't want to spoil it.
Gonna say it a certain way.
Can I say there is a legitimate record breaker?
A what?
A legitimate record breaking.
Yes, they actually do.
It's unfucking real.
They actually do a stunt that was a record.
They're like, this is the best version of this shit.
Hey Guinness, can we send you this footage that we just took 2 seconds ago?
And then
hold on. Yeah. So they actually break a record with a stunt and they roll it into the plot point.
Yes.
They roll it as a plot point, which to me is one of those things that could have happened, and like 2 weeks later, after everything it was in the can, like, what we should have done? I wanted to credit whoever said, hey, let's stop for 1 second and just realize what was just done and incorporate it, because those are the type of things you can't write in. You can't, if it's a movie about stuntman, like real effects and things like that, you can't put that in CGI and what have you. They just did a great job. They got a task and they did it very, very well.
Ellis is I think trying to have a piss, but he brings up a good point. Jackie Chan and Tom Cruise are two motherfuckers that if they cameoed in this movie, I'd be like, I get it. Like, those motherfuckers have broken more bones.
The only way you're gonna get a cameo with them is that if they were in the hospital.
Oh my god!
And then like,
oh my god, why did I say it like fucking John Travolta?
I know, bro.
Who does no stunts of his own?
Even
dancing. Does dancing count?
Different stunts.
An assaulting massage, alleged. I went real dark.
Yeah,
I don't know why my brain is like, how he's a horrible person in real life.
Wow.
Let's stop having fun and bring up a harsh reality. I had a fucking blast, and I think what I really dug about it.
Yeah.
I expected to think the film was fine.
Yeah.
And any time a film does slightly better than my expectation.
Yeah.
And I think my new ranking system is going to just become very simply like, is this a movie I want to own so that I can throw it on in the background? Because I do not think it's like this master work, but it is fun as fuck.
Well, as far as what though, like what category would you put it into to begin with?
What do you mean?
What type of flick was it to you?
Action comedy.
Okay.
And
it wasn't a masterwork of an action comedy.
No, it was. It was. Okay. That's a very good point.
See that flip flop?
Changed my. It's not a flip flop.
On the rewatch, I want to know how long that shit took.
I feel like I'm the fall guy in USComics cast.
That last comment you were.
Would you feel the compulsion if tomorrow?
Yeah.
That like we're greenlighting all your fucking stories for USComics that have yet to see paper. We're gonna go all the way and make a film. You guys get to be in it. You are victim number 8. You want to do your own stunt? I would want to do my own stunt.
Depends on the stunt.
If there was a way to safely do it.
Well, but here's the thing. So it's not. I don't even think it's about safety because I'm a very trusting person. So if they came to like, oh look,
your dance card.
there's a harness. I'm like, I'm right. I would just be right in. However, there are certain things where I am just not comfortable with, regardless of who's saying,
oh, okay.
No, it's okay, it's okay. So for me, my claustrophobia speaks louder.
What a shitty son. We're gonna put you in this tiny room.
Well, like let's say for example, the air duct.
Okay.
In Die Hard, I'm like, nope.
Yeah, I couldn't do that stunt even if I wanted to. I'm like, I am the diameter of that.
No. But I'm saying, like, do you have a mortal fucking fear of tight spaces? Because that's really.
I don't think. I'm very afraid of heights, but I find it incredibly thrilling. So if it was one of those things where they were like going to pull me through a window,
you're like a fucking X Games guy now.
God. I take umbrage with this.
With what?
Some people have said this actually, and again, I'm not ever sure if Ellis is just taking a piss for taking a piss sake.
Can it be both?
Ellis over on Facebook, because we are live, says the industry has gotten so bad that mediocre seems great these days. I do not think that greatness is predicated on anything else. I also take almost umbrage with the word greatness because your great, my great, and Ellis's great are different. Again, Ellis, I'm not picking on you. But you are one of these people that thinks Phantom Menace is incredibly successful as a film.
What are you taking a piss on Phantom Menace for?
Because Phantom Menace box office did really well. So I'm just going to the boring statistics of this. I just think when it comes to art, it's always subjective. So when people try to fucking scale it, two greats don't have to be equivalent to be great.
I don't think that's what he's saying, and it got faded out. Can you move the mouse?
Of course I can.
So the industry has gotten so bad that mediocre seems great these days. I hear what he's saying with that. And I do hear that. Yeah, I would say this though, Ellis. When you go into a flick with a low level of expectation, or the best case scenario, really no expectation at all, that's on us, right? We're the ones who built something into more than it is. So when that thing isn't what we imagined it to be, we're like, boo, 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 boo. That actually sucked. This movie is benefiting from not really having any expectations. The property is dusty. It's dusty. It's not just old. It hasn't been fucked with in forever.
I can't help but wonder if like stuntmen love that show.
Of course.
About them. So
dude, stuntmen have that fucking song as their ringtone. I guarantee it.
So like one day there's gonna be this like shitty podcast show, and all of us assholes who have dedicated hundreds of hours.
A movie about podcasting.
It doesn't matter. Like,
and I would say, and before even that comes, Charlie's gonna be sitting in the movie theater. It's gonna be Tuesday on the 2:00, and he's gonna be watching a movie, just all into it. And then somebody in the audience's phone is gonna go off, and he's like, and he's gonna get furious at them. And I warn you now, that is a fucking stuntman. And he or she will end your day. He's gonna go lights out, night night, and it's gonna be. I'm gonna have to hear about it in the hospital when I come to visit you. So just tread lightly.
Do you think that Fall Guy, as we wrap up, is this a movie you have to see in theaters? I will go first. I absolutely do. I think when you have stunts this spectacular, when you're celebrating the art of the stunt, you want to see that on the biggest screen. I do think it'll play on your phone. I do think it'll play every fucking version. But for me, it's a missed opportunity to not see this on as fucking big of a screen as you can find.
Yeah, my opinion is this absolutely is one of those movies that you have to see in a movie theater first. Yeah, granted, if you're like us, you're gonna see it and you're gonna dig it and likely want to own it. Not so much for playing in the background, more for like a, oh shit, you didn't see Fall Guy, whoop, and then pop it on.
That's another thing. It's a very pass aroundable.
Of course,
flick.
yeah. It's like if somebody hasn't read a particular book, I have 2 copies, whatever the case might be. But I agree with you that is also something that definitely will play in your living room. It'll play on your, I'm not gonna say phone, but I will say iPad, because I also think that this is one of those flicks that on a rewatch or third watch or fourth watch, you'll catch things here and there. And look, I mean, those type of movies deserve multiple watching, so it's kind of our responsibility to give it to them.
My final thought, and I don't know if I manufactured this because you had a very funny drop-in. Didn't it kind of feel like they were shitting on a very specific director? There's a movie in the movie, and it is basically watching the trailer for some shit that I've decided not to watch.
Yeah,
did that feel intentional, or was that a generic?
I think that was
attack on like brainless movies.
I think that was a Charlie fill in the blank. That was like,
because it made me so happy.
But that's good. But I mean, there's stuff that movies should let you connect. Now where you would be the dick is if Fall Guy 2 happens and they're like, this, the director we were talking about was what? And then you're now furious. You're like, I hate Fall Guy. Worst shit ever, because they didn't do what you thought was being done. Enough. Or, you know, you have to be careful.
Sorry, I didn't mean to, honestly. I just misgauged. There is a tremendous gag at the end.
Yeah.
The gag for gag's sake at the end of the film, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
Like the whole movie was just very, very enjoyable.
I love it. Go see fucking Fall Guy. Do yourself a favor. We're about to hit some heavy hitters. So go check out Fall Guy before or after you go see Apes, because that movie's going to make all the money. Elsie was saying he's
all the Apes
aficionado. John, if you don't have a good time at Fall Guy, well, then I suspect you have a lot in common with a certain chinless some bitch. Why? Because Han shot first.
When are we doing the actual Han shot?
We gotta do a special edition.
I know, but when do you want to do it?
Let's do it this week. We'll pre-record it in the kitchen.
Oh,
this way we'll drop it
not
for
this week.
The very special episode.
No, the special episode should be all about special. Drink it up. No.
Well, that was not terrible. Hated it.
Oh, it didn't taste good at all.
Little
wild. That was the whole point.
A little wild berry in your life.
Just ignore everything Charlie just said. He lies about everything. Now,
yes.
Recently, with the changes in my schedule and circumstance,
sexuality,
I have been that's pretty locked in, buddy. I have been coming straight from work. Relax. I've been coming straight from work, and gone are the days of the hoodie. John, on USComics.
I didn't want to bring attention to it. You look very sharp.
Well, you know, Charlie, they say clothes make the man. My new work situation allows me to have more of those dress up
hooker
moment.
Are we not telling people?
It's escort, first of all. Show some respect.
That's for the classy ones.
Yeah, you're right. But in any case,
John played ping pong.
Shut up, it's my turn. Clothes make the man. This is what a transition looks like, you butt of a bitch. Clothes make the man. Where's my script? Clothes make the man. It's undeniable. But if you see something you don't like, it can take something you love into something utterly disposable. James Gunn went ahead and gave people the peek behind the fucking dressing room that so many have been asking for, and we finally get to see what James Gunn's Kal-El is going to look like on the big screen. Charlie, show the good people.
Let's bring it. Let's go ahead to
that's
our wonderful.
That's a fun little.
Let's move over to the viewing booth, shall we? And we have from formerly Superman Legacy, which is now, correct me if I'm wrong, it's just called Superman.
Just called Superman,
which I like. We had a non-Superman Superman movie last time. Huh? Man of Steel was the last attempts. So this is only the second ever Superman movie.
Well, yeah.
In title,
Superman the movie was our Chris Reeve.
That's a good point too, because that is called Superman the movie.
Right.
This is the first one ever called just Superman.
That's what I just said.
It's a good point. I'm glad I brought it up. I'm doing a great job on this topic.
Just hijacking.
People are nervous. Cousin Paul is nervous about our reaction.
Well, here's the thing. And Superman is my number one fandom, quite frankly, in the comic books. And I will agree with Ellis right off the bat. I think the pose was intentionally. I'm sorry, Ellis says the pose is not a great way to show off the suit, though. It will probably look better if he's standing. Okay, you're on record, Ellis. So if you're wrong, I'm coming for you personally. I think the pose is something that is intentionally. Look, I'm gonna show you, but I'm not really gonna show you.
I love the vibe. Like, I love the pose. I love the decision to allegedly do it all in camera.
So what the vibe of like, oh, I got work to do. Let me put on my combat boots.
I think it's because, and we're gonna take a look at what's come before.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times what people think they want and what they want are two different things.
Okay.
The most traditional Superman pose ever is tearing open the shirt, revealing the S.
Right, but that's not really showing.
It's not. Yeah, it's showing
it. You're showing the S.
And they already showed off the S. They had it like in the snow.
Right. Well, it also leaked.
Yeah. But when Man of Steel, and I actually didn't prepare this, but when they first showed off Chris Reeve, it was this beautiful shot of him in the full costume. And I think, was that the one with the American flag?
I don't know. It was fucking 1970s.
Fair enough. So you were like,
did you?
You were only a teen.
It's not funny. It's not funny. People ask us who's older.
I know. It hurts my feelings.
The more you're piling on yourself right now. Be a friend to yourself. Stop it.
I'm never
Stop it.
I
don't know that they had a quote unquote reveal because again, it was so long ago.
Well, Man of Steel.
They're just like not Man of Steel. Pardon me. Superman the movie.
Yeah.
They were just like, here it is.
With Man of Steel,
they don't give you sneak peeks. People saw it for the first time in a movie theater.
With Man of Steel, it was a big deal.
Of course it was.
And it was that shot of him, and I thought it would be.
Did that rhyme on purpose?
Yeah, I wish. And it was that shot that I thought would be a little bit more interesting, but it wound up being the bank vault behind him, and he was kind of like thrown into it. Which at the time I thought he was like shoving it out of his way or something.
Like, take this, bank.
And there have been a series of these suits. I wound up culling what wound up being like the most often looked at shot, like a promotional shot of a particular era. And I thought it'd be fun to go way back before we dove into what we like or don't like. Or do you want to do the opposite?
I want to do the opposite.
Great.
I want to do the opposite. So one thing that I saw that somebody took the time to cobble together was the fact that this is somewhat of a Frankenstein suit, right? There are elements from all these different comic book variations of Superman's famous yellow, blue, and red suit. And I said, so it's like a jambalaya. I hate jambalaya.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you try to be everything.
I said like I knew you hated jambalaya. The way you just said you hate jambalaya, now I fucking know you did.
Cross it off the shopping list.
It's off your birthday list.
So when you try to be everything, you effectively become nothing at all. And to me, and you can quote me, when I first saw this suit, and I continue to feel this way. I said, well, this is Superman if he was in Marvel. It is a Marvel costume.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it is.
It's very much a jacket.
It's
I think that's what
I'm not a huge fan, but that's not my least favorite thing about it. But
correct. Yeah. Well, I'm just throwing to Ellis. The new suit looks too thick. No way. I was taken aback by
Did you like it? Like, is it a thumbs up or thumbs down for you?
This to me does get the lowest thumbs up.
Okay.
That I have in my arsenal.
For me, it's a thumbs down.
Which I totally get. I'm a bigger fan of the S even than you. I love the S. I love that
it's not the Kingdom Come S.
It's not, but it's very close.
It's the Kingdom Come S in red and yellow
with a Fleischer outline because there's a subtle,
but that's
yellow outline.
That's a very, very subtle.
So I mean, me personally, when I look at the suit again, I love the pose. I love that there's this notion of like, I got so used to, and I don't hate Man of Steel. I just don't love Man of Steel, which was like hard for me because Superman is my favorite superhero. I don't think he means quite as much to me as he does to you. But it's damn fucking close. Like my favorite issues of comics are Superman comics. My favorite characters come out of the pages of Action Comics. So seeing a version of him that's like, well, time to save the fucking world. Very similar to, and I know it's a Norman Rockwell reference, but the Alex Ross painting of Superman that's kind of on the other side of this. Instead of getting ready, he's like calling it fucking for the night.
It's a fucking 12 a.m. on December 26th, Santa.
Exactly right. This is like, it's the fucking 23rd, and he's in his last moments of prep. Right. So I love.
Last minute ignore.
I love that the panties are back. So happy the red panties.
But that I'm glad.
I live and die by the red panties.
I'm glad that you brought it up though, because this to me also felt like if you like they want you to do work. They like want you to be blowing it up on your phone, and I totally get that from a marketing perspective. Fucking brilliant. However, there are certain elements of the costume that are blatant, and Paul just brought it up right here. So if you want to bring Paul's comment up.
It's a great drop.
Paul says new 52 collar. 100% right, Paul, and it's my number one fucking reason that I am not at all a fan of this
because the
costume.
New 52 was doo-doo.
The new 52 was doo-doo. It was not good. Also, that neckline with the cape makes zero
and they do it
sense
so often now
whatsoever. I don't care. They could do it till the cows come home, but not with Superman. The whole point of that costume and having that cape, it's a tucked in cape. That's the entire fucking point of it. And if you look at how they did it in Superman the movie, they did it just like the Spartans did it, where it was like across their back, and it wasn't going anywhere, but there was should you need it.
Yeah.
So in kind of attempting to appease everybody, I know one guy who they didn't appease. Not at all a fan of this costume. I'm really not.
So one thing that I get scared of with the costume before I mention the next thing I like is when going back to Elsa's comment about the thickness, I'm very afraid it's going to be like New 52 and like nanotech. If the costume comes out of nowhere, it's so annoying.
If that's the case, then I now blame James Gunn exclusively
for the
nanotech in Marvel, because nanotech is dumb. Nobody sees it happening on screen and go, "Oh wow, that was a really cool effect." It's not a cool effect. They have it in Go-Gurt commercials. They use like, beep, 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 beep. Stop it.
That's a great job.
That's over now.
That is a great, like when you were in a Go-Gurt commercial, you go fuck yourself.
You're done.
I love the boots. I love the way the boots sit.
The boots
I love
are
the
fine.
height.
I like the soles are red. Now I will say this: anyone who stumbles across this podcast and thinks, are they really going to this level of examination and conversation? 100% we are. Because this is the type of stuff that's important.
Our new calling. Yeah. Panties forever. Nanotech never.
You know how every script has like a secret name that's like, oh, this is what's playing over here? Blue Harvest? No. Panties forever. Nanotech never. If it wasn't the secret title, the filming title for this movie, then they fucked up.
So now they're clearly hiding it because David Cornsworth, I'm not saying that name right, the new Superman is not this tan. At least I don't think.
Well, that's also subjective because it's like the screen you're looking at.
Yeah, true. But what do you think overall of the colors? If we use the boots and the legs as a calling card for it, this to me is about as dark as you can get without
it being dark.
Dark.
Yeah, and James Gunn made a promise to us when he was first involved in the project that this was not going to be Christopher, and not in these words, but like the implication to me was it's not going to be a wannabe Nolan joint.
Yeah.
Right? It's not going to be in shadows. It's Superman. Superman's supposed to be the sunlight to Batman's darkness.
And again, it's not quite the costume, but again, just talking about the photo in general.
Yeah.
The fact that the beam in the background is like pink, purple, aqua. Yeah, it's kind of exciting that I'm seeing bright colors.
But on the same token, like there's clearly some shit going on. Superman's got a Superman. He's getting ready to go do so. Look, that vibe I get. And I don't want this to be misconstrued where, I don't know. So famously, our very talented friend, Kevin Smith, told us about the writing for Superman Lives, which thankfully never happened. But he was told by John Peters that like he didn't want a cape, he wanted it dark, he wanted this, he wanted that. Now that being said, if knowing my enjoyment of Kevin Smith properties, if he had done his thing and that's how Superman was dressed, I may have still been all in on the flick.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't look like Superman to me.
You had a great quote. Do you remember what you said to me?
It often is the case.
Do you remember what you said?
I say a lot of shit.
So when we were discussing this via text message, the moment the costume came out, you said the suit could be total dog shit, but if the movie is great, you're all in. You'll just be like the one flaw, that shitty costume.
Don't ever misquote me again. I think what I said was, if the story is great, then the costume, how he's gussied up, becomes kind of like irrelevant to a point. It really does. It's like if a comic book story, if the narrative is super strong, you're like, oh, this has me coming back and back and back and back, but you don't like the art style, you're not going to stop. Because the truth of the matter is, at least originally, this flick was based on a very, very famous Superman comic book that where the art is not your prototypical Superman art. And again, it really relied on the narrative to keep people engaged, and it fucking sure as hell did.
It worked. It worked like you read about.
So again, I don't know if it's just that it's the James Gunn aesthetic that he particularly likes, because truly this to me is, well, what if what if Superman was a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, or something like that?
Which I'd read the fuck out of that.
Of course I would. Of course.
Just him bopping around with fucking Star-Lord,
just knocking on the fucking windshield
and knocking the back out of Gamora. What's up, son? Yeah. Either Gamora, with memories or without.
Green could kill me, but it's worth it.
That's what happened. That actually what happened in Guardians. He kissed her, and she forgot everything. John, before we go on, again, for me, like Ellis said, a little bit too thick, a little bit too jackety. I hate the paneling because it evokes New 52. I love the boots. I love the panties. I love the belt. I love his hair.
Again, I'm not.
This is my lowest thumbs up, though.
You're breaking it down into its components.
Yeah.
And the whole is greater than the sum of the parts it's made of. Pippin taught us that. So to me, first impressions, the eye goes to the first thing that either delights you or disgusts you. And for me, it was that neckline. So I'm like, man, I would have done it better. But again, that doesn't mean I'm not going to see the flick. That doesn't mean that I'm not optimistic about the flick.
You're not going to buy the toy?
Of course.
Let's go through the Wayback Machine.
Sure, let's do this.
If you don't mind.
And also, guys, like, feel free to drop in. Let us know, like, dislike, don't care.
And not just if you're...
We want to gauge ourselves.
And not just if you're live. Feel free to hit us up all of our social media,
time,
USComics HQ, or you can call John's phone. I'm going to put it at the bottom of the screen right at the end. Just call him any hour of the day.
Sexy lady.
Probably, I don't know if he was the first, but certainly to my knowledge, the first. I'm going to butcher his name. But we have good old, I called it the Kirk Superman suit. This suit, as we got Kit Crash over on Twitch.
Hey, what's up, Twitch?
The suit is okay. But yeah, great story. Can elevate a lot of things.
Hell yeah.
So Kit Crash isn't out. certainly.
If the story is not good, it wouldn't make a difference to me if it was the literal greatest version of a physical Superman suit that we've ever seen. If again, similarly, to go backwards and reference myself, if if
To quote the great myself,
if if John Peters' version of that story actually happened and he's fighting a spider and this and the other thing, and it was the greatest Superman costume I've ever seen, I'd be furious at the movie. I'd be fucking furious. So I agree with you wholeheartedly.
So good old Kirk here. When you
Kirk
were
Allen?
Kirk Allen, I believe is correct. I of course didn't include the last name because I'm stupid and bad at prep.
Captain Kirk Superman.
Now, obviously, this is from before your time. But did you wind up seeing like reruns of this?
You're
welcome. I learned.
He can learn, folks. He can learn.
Get your fucking hand off me.
Sorry. Too much too soon.
Did you wind up seeing this in reruns? Was this something? Because again, I have an unfair advantage with a lot of the shit because TV Land.
Yeah.
Like we're the next suit we're gonna look at. Not only have I fucking seen him on I Love Lucy, but the next up Superman, I've fucking seen that entire series 12 times over.
As you should.
So was this something that you even had access to?
Sure.
On the come up. So what did you think when you got to see this come to life? Because he was Superboy or he was Superman?
No, Superman. I mean, this is, if I'm not mistaken, this was the Mole Man and like all those.
Correct.
Like
That's what this is from. And again, this is the most Googled version of him in costume.
Now this, granted, this is just
colorized
for the visual. This is absolutely colorized.
I forgot this is also an audio podcast, mainly because I didn't put up last week.
So this is a colorized version of the black and white version that we got, and this is like literal. So when I see this instantly reminds me of the early Batman.
With the floppy ears and shit.
Floppy ears. I'm like, yo, my man needs some Pro P shop in this joint.
What I love about it is those boots on this version of Superman, the Kirk Allen. Not even that. It's the fact that they were very clearly socks over what I imagine are like a nice, comfortable pair of loafs.
Dude, Mole Man are very bad on your feet.
Let's move to arguably the first, when you think of Superman actors, probably the earliest one that comes to a lot of people's brains, George Reeves.
Sure.
Absolutely iconic, played beautifully by Ben Affleck in that quasi biopic. This Superman suit to me, damn near perfect. I'm a big boots mark. So the minute you have diamonds on a boot, or in the new suit, it's more of a U. But the minute you have that sort of line, for some reason, these are the biggest pair of red panties. Dude. When people don't want Superman panties, they're thinking of George Reeves. This is our father has the belt up to his nipples.
You know the gag when like ladies are throwing their panties up on stage for a rock star, and then inevitably, ultimately, there is just a pair of bloomers that makes its way up on stage. It was George Reeves.
Yeah.
It was his bloomers that ended up on.
Lois would unfurl these for 6 minutes.
Holy
it would take her
cow.
6 minutes to get.
Oof, my goof.
The colors, what's very funny is I always forget. Again, this is a colorized version we're looking at on the video version, which, if you're not here live, available on YouTube and available on Facebook in perpetuity. A very light bodysuit. This is again, it's a very, when it's the colorized version at least, very, very light bodysuit. I'm always surprised that I always forget rather that the boots were like a darker color than the cape and panties.
But again, because the boots are made of a different material.
Yeah.
You know.
Ella's bringing up no spit curl on George Reeves, which I guess I never noticed before.
That's true.
Cousin Paul talking about those granny panties. Our mother, executive producer of the show.
I know, Ma, don't be gross.
George Reeves set the standard. So her standard was an alien with superpowers.
Yeah.
Adds up. Who like worked as a shitty reporter
and giant drawers.
Now the person who I think made us all believe that a man could fly.
See, that's a well thought out, clearly pre-planned transition.
I'm about 50, I think 50-50. Like half the time I plan, half the time I just recklessly attack. Chris Reeve is, when I hear Superman in a comic, when I close my eyes and think of Superman, it is Superman.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because the fucking movie was so successful that they
changed
the way that they drew Superman to make him look more like Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
That's why we think of him, close our eye, like the Superman bed sheets it's Chris Reeve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's just how they fucking did it.
A couple things. It's actually very funny because I put up this picture after our buddy Kit Crash over on the Purple site dropped this gem. I think for a Superman suit, less is more. It doesn't have to be detailed looking, as detailed looking as the new one, or like Man of Steel, if that makes sense. And I think Kit Crash, we're looking at exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Chris Reeve is wearing a bodysuit, all the materials. There are three materials. The cape is a material, the suits are material, and the boots are a slightly different material. But the colors match perfectly. The tuck of the cape they've never done a better job. By today's standards, again, just being the most nitpicky, are the boots a little bit high for some? You and I had this conversation off show. You were like, I don't give a fuck how tall the boots are.
Come on.
They're not going past his knees. So I guess that's real. And again, his panties are a little bit tall, but that was the fashion of the time.
That's called the hips. That's like if you're wearing pants.
Like Shakira, you don't have to tell me. I wear my fat ass has them up in proper, bro.
I don't stop pulling until I hit.
Yeah,
nipple.
my belt buckle covers my belly button just in case. I don't know what creeps are out there.
Yeah, so
I think this is a perfect.
Just for the record, this is my absolute favorite look that we've seen thus far.
And I don't think that that's unfair. Now,
well, no, I'm right.
One of the biggest like I love Superman, and I was very young when Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman came out. I was very young. I'm still thinking Sun Chips are a delicious treat. I remember the first promo photo, and this actually, again, these are the #1 culled photos, the most looked at photos of this Superman
for each variation.
This wasn't. The picture I'm going to show you next was like the 5th most, because it was the original promotional photo of what they were going to dress Dean Cain up as.
No, what I'm saying is the version for each Superman suit that we're looking at is the #1
correct
of
that version. The original Lois and Clark Superman suit was a fucking hot mess.
Pardon me?
It is the biggest Superman S.
Dean Cain.
It goes down to his belly button.
Very dare you.
Dude.
How are you coming out here?
He has... What do you call that cape?
He's wearing a jazzercise Superman branded dance singlet.
Have you ever seen the Indian?
The actual fuck?
Have you ever seen the Indian Superman?
Of course.
Movie? That's what he's wearing.
Superman and Spider-Woman?
Yes,
yeah, yo, that's a power couple.
That is the power couple. He has giant shoulder pads.
Holy shit.
It is awful. However,
he looks like a hardworking gal going up to the top floor one way or another.
Kit Crash showing some love that Chris Reeve wasn't super jacked. He doesn't have to be.
But you know what though, Kid? He was much more jacked by the time camera started rolling than he was when he was cast.
That's true.
A man hit.
There's some behind the scenes photos. You're like, God damn.
Yeah.
Looks like a pro wrestler of the era. Yeah. Luckily for me, because I did love that show, and it's not a good rewatch.
Lois and Clark.
After the pilot, they fixed the S. They fixed the cape. This to me is the most this is the suit I loved the most growing up.
Now, as a boot guy,
yes, I hate the boots of the flaw.
He's wearing Wonder Woman's boots.
The boots of the flaw, because there's no
I like what that's implying.
Yeah, he's like, yo, what's up, girl? I gotta go. I gotta fly. He had the door.
He's like, oh, a whole island of women's.
He had the David Cornsweath photo, but his like boots he couldn't find. They're up on like the top of the fortress. You know what it is? It's a huge S, which I love. It's the exact Chris Reeve tuck of the cape.
Proportionally, it's an Alex Rossian S.
Yes.
Because my man Alex Ross likes making the S large, regardless of which version of the S it might be.
Kit Crash, I've burnt his poor I burnt his poor eyes with that first Dean Cain.
Yeah, that was rough for all of us.
One thing I always hated was that Dean Cain also had no spit curl. Which I'm like, the motherfucker, like, he's a handsome guy, even as Clark.
He also has a 5 head, so he could have really used.
He really could have. Just so we all see it again. Just look at how terrible.
Oh man, and just he's so pleased with himself.
Now I was surprised at myself because there was a suit I hate even more than the pilot episode of Lois and Clark Superman. We gotta do it. Our boy Nick Cage. And the worst part is when people think of Nick Cage as almost Superman, they think of the terrible electric suit. But at least that was not supposed to be his main suit. They gave this motherfucker a Batman Superman suit. Oof. The cape is tucked. They get points for that. But it is rubber. He is in a fucking Nick Cage.
And he is wearing
ridiculous.
He's not wearing the underpants. He's not wearing panties. He is wearing a straight up codpiece.
Why is it cut so high?
Holy moly.
It is cut above his hip line.
That Superman suit, if it was done by International Mail Catalog, it is. It is like,
I hate that joke. And it takes a second for the math to work out, and then your asshole drops that. I hate you. I hate your guys.
His panty lines are fucking perfect.
Those are what I look for in a nice. I'm like, hey baby, I hope you got the Nick Cage panties on.
Can't see the lines.
And I hope it's the same run.
Nope.
Ellis, I have $20 if you draw Nick Cage at the store. I need a Christmas card.
That's Charlie funded.
I need a Christmas card. $20.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Let's bring
now
up another.
I do have a question though.
Yeah.
Where's Nick Cage's pick girl? About 20 years before the picture.
Oh baby. I'm sure they had it on the wig.
How with that widow's peak? How the hell?
It was a full wig. He had they were gonna put him like a full like lace front.
Were they gonna staple it on? Holy shit!
I don't know why I left like that. I didn't have that much. Chris, I like Nick Cage.
I love Nick Cage.
Ironically, what bad? I know he loves the character, but I also shouldn't play Superman.
He paid $1 million for Action 1,
and then sold it.
Well, I mean, yeah, he sold everything. He sold his Tyrannosaurus head. He sold Action 1.
I need you to rank.
We all agree that that's trash.
I need you to rank Nick Cage versus Lois and Clark pilot episode versus what amounts to the Smallville suit. Talk about a leather. He is in a leather jacket and jeans.
Wilson sold this jacket for months.
The worst is, I love Superman so aggressively that a lot of people bring up Superman shit to me. And the amount of friends I've had that bought like the bootleg AliExpress this Superman jacket, I like Smallville. And I'm still like, oh, you're wrong.
No.
You're wrong for liking this.
I would rather he was wearing a Magic 8-Ball jacket.
Nice.
As Superman than this nonsense.
Kid Crash showed some love for Nick Cage, but not as Superman. Nick Cage as Superman may be worse than the first Dean Cain suit altogether. And he fucking loves Nick Cage.
Now, here's my question.
Take your face off.
One of the fun things about the early spun tales of Superman is like, oh, Ma Kent, she whipped up that suit for him. Does she have a leather tannery? What the actual fuck?
Oh, they were on a farm.
Charlie!
Sorry.
It's a mass-produced Superman leather jacket.
So we're gonna get. We have more bad.
Superman didn't have a motorcycle racing team.
We got more. Oh, but when he had the black kryptonite ring, he was a bad boy. So he rode his motorcycle. Nope. I love that show. So unironically. So where does this outfit? Where's Nick Cage versus Pilot Lois and Clark?
I mean, like, there are no winners in that scenario.
Well, what about
what's least worst, which is just the worst English?
What about when Superman returned and he had a turtleneck came tucked in?
Oh boy!
But that is a low. That is a crew neck.
There are so many things about this that are not just wrong for Superman.
For the audio people, we're talking about the Superman return Superman suit.
They defy actual physics and logic. Like how? All right, so I'm only assuming, but I know I can speak for my brother and I.
You always can, even when you're wrong.
We've had that moment where a parent or loved one has sewn a button onto a towel.
Yes.
And we're just running through the house.
Mom made me one last Tuesday.
Like a goofus. This cape / collar combination, it reminds me of exactly that. The towel around your neck. The straight up, you want to talk about like, so
first of all, the passion coming out of you right now is the highest I've ever seen.
Well, that's because he's also wearing, like, we want to keep on throwing brand names around. He's wearing the Superman outfit by Victoria's Secret. And the secret that Victoria has is that she doesn't know shit about Superman. He's wearing ironically named boy shorts.
Yeah.
Because they are like, now picture this outfit on a sexy lady. That would be amazing.
I would be all like
a Vicky's Secret model, that type of thing.
Vicky Vale in the Superman return suit.
I'm in. Now I'm in. Even the color scheme, the color scheme is maybe one of the most egregious things
No, the blue is fine. What the fuck is that magenta?
It's maroon. It's maroon.
Maroon is actually the color.
It's like so.
I don't know colors.
It's so maroon. It's almost brown.
It really fucking is.
The S on his chest is more like a fucking badge that a security guard in the mall might wear. It's teeny tiny. The S on the belt is redundant.
See, you know what bothers me so much about the Superman Returns suit? You can read that out in a second.
Kid Crash dropping in. Yeah, he should have put that Superman suit back to Victoria's days.
The Kid Crash just crushing it tonight. Thank you all.
Way to be.
Cousin Paul Ellis keeping us all in check.
Raise your game.
I was going the opposite. I was saying, good job, everybody. John's like new friends are the only friends I give
new blood.
Mom dropping in a Spice Girls wore those shirts. Really did. I had the cassette.
Size matters. Yeah,
that's true. That is, I think, what I.
It's not the size of the ass, Ellis.
Disagree. It is the size.
It's how you move it.
John, there's something so fucked up about this suit. Has all the pieces I like done the worst way possible.
Like, what do you mean piece? There's an S.
Yeah, it is a Superman costume. The fucking. Before when I complained about the fucking George Reeves to his nipples, panties. If this is the alternative, hike those fuckers up. The worst is, I happen to love.
It looks like he's hiking them up in the picture.
Like he's like, oh god, I can't.
Like, you guys kidding me?
It's fucking while I was away on Earth after knocking up that broad. This movie sucks. Brandon Routh. One, I've had the good enough experience if I got to meet and just kind of like chew fat with him. We were both working at a convention. He made way more money than my goofy charity. But he is such a good guy, and he had like almost. You used to say if they were going to do a Chris Reeve biopic, he would have.
His Clark Kent was so dead on to what Christopher Reeve did that it was almost spooky.
It was supposed to be a sequel to those films. It was supposed to be a sequel to 2. Well, according to that garbage director,
even that is not. Look, they can say anything they want, but
that's
the truth of the matter is that upon release, they were harping on like, well, this could be like a sequel. This could kind of be like a continuation of Smallville, blah blah. Like they were really playing every angle that they could.
I hate the S on the belt. They do that so fucking often.
It's awful.
That's another thing in the comics. They actually do it quite often.
You know what's very funny is of all the elements that are in the mix to get right or get wrong, the buckle should be the simplest thing in the world.
Yeah. Are you an oval guy or a square guy?
Of course, an oval guy.
I don't mind the square. What I find amazing about this suit and Kick Crash, we're not just kissing your ass. Legitimately,
at the very least, it's bland. Yeah,
it's bland on its best day. It's bland. Also, the mustard yellow doesn't get enough hate. It's so fucking.
You know
awful.
why?
That's
though?
The worst color
because
yellow.
There are so many other things wrong with it that you're like, I'll leave the mustard alone for now. You know,
a lot of love for Brandon as an actor, and he got to be on the show. He got a better
great actor.
He got a Kingdom Come suit.
His script was at best a ripoff, and at worst uninspired.
Now, according to liars on the internet, the definitive Superman, who I don't know if you know this, I have a screen used Superman S.
I know you do, and I know
where
you got it from.
I'll be as fair as possible. There's nothing about the first Man of Steel Superman suit that I hate.
Okay.
Out of the gate, I think as far as like it's supposed to look alien, there's no pen. I don't hate it. I love none of it. This is almost the opposite side of the Brandon Routh suit. Whereas I think the Brandon Routh suit did nothing right. I just think this suit did everything just slightly wrong. Yeah. Like, I don't like even the fact that they had a silver undersuit, but this is a navy blue suit. Which why the fuck?
It doesn't even pretend to be royal blue. Now I will say this:
crest is fun.
The cut of the jib, so to speak, of the crest, fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Are you a 3D
and
crest
there
guy?
are hold on a second. There are also a ton of elements that I fucking hate. Now again, knowing John's proclivity for for the collar line, they actually got that right here. They absolutely did. Colors are wrong. The fucking cuffs are ridiculous. The knot belt is there. Like what's that belt buckle just floating in space there for? You're supposed to like, is that his fucking the button like in Toy Story? You know,
up and away.
There's so much wrong with it. However, and this is why I stopped you. The one thing that I think they got the wrong guests, the most wrong, was that the fucking material, and I understand the plot point reason why, but that I also hated that the crest in the suit is clearly made out of the same material. And yeah, it's raised, but like that little fucking goofy texture, it's just not good. And again,
you like his bracelets? Talking about borrowing from Wonder Woman.
Cavill was a great Superman in a terrible set of movies. They put that shit together, and this is my big problem with the Snyderverse, right? Characters were completely gotten wrong. So the fact that he doesn't look like Superman is probably less egregious than the fact that they put this poor guy in a situation of like it was impossible not to fail.
Someone was talking about totally non sequitur, but someone was like, if Cavill comes back in any capacity, like it would be fun Ultraman. Like him fighting the new guy. I feel like Snyder fans would be dicks.
I want my Ultraman to be the same actor.
Right? Oh, yeah, I agree. Well, you and I have had this conversation.
But we were talking, like they were talking about, well, Marvel's going to come knocking, and Captain Britain and blah, blah, blah. If I was Cavill, which I'm not, just to alleviate any confusion out there,
lower the S.
I would come back as he would have been my pick for, for real. Like at that point, I fucking not Hyperion. What's the fucking
Sentry?
Guys?
The yellow one?
Sentry, maybe not so much because I gave fucking what's his face. I gave Glenn from Walking Dead.
You tried to hit him with that bat.
I'm like, no, that ain't right. That ain't right. But look, Marvel has a ton of not Superman characters. You could fucking have him come back as any of those, and really, if he wanted to kind of put it behind him, that's the way that he should have done it. Good point. But yeah, like
get that man a cape.
This version of the suit is appropriate, I think, for this version of Superman, who's not really our Superman. Not the one that we've been reading comics.
We only have one left.
Do it.
That I thought was important to bring up, because I think one common denominator with all of these suits was having the inspiration was a classic Superman suit. Even I think really the only exception would be the newest suit. The Cornsworth suit is like a new 52 suit. There was one new 52 suit that hit live action before, and I would argue that the Lois and Superman suit is a take on the new 52. It's a higher collar. It still keeps the tuck. It does the Superman belt buckle, which I don't love. But when you talk about the Arrowverse and the people who mourned it, what I don't understand is, like, where did some of that money go? The suit on the screen right now, again, the suit from Lois
was not the suit that he always wore.
Well, he had like 5 suits.
Yeah, he had a bunch of, and they were
the first time you see him on Supergirl is a suit with like one of the worst S's. He had a Fleischer suit in the pilot of his own suit that I loved. That his mom made. Dope. That suit was like, to me, that was almost like, if I was the showrunner, I'm like, this is how our Superman is going to stand out, as significantly aesthetically different, with still looking the same, because they did such a. I don't have a photo of it, unfortunately, because again, I was looking for the number ones of the hit. But this suit does a very weird thing where it's like very cosplay. It's a good cosplay.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they like spray painted random shading. Like they gave him like some abs. They gave him a little bit of pec definition. The rest just seems like camouflage. It could be a bad photo too. Yeah. That show I kind of gave up after a couple episodes. I heard okay things. It was just bad. I didn't hear it was bad. I heard it was just not great. Like I was like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. It's like why spend time?
That goes back to the thing of like your levels of expectation, right? So like if someone came out,
I liked Arrowverse more than you, but I didn't like Arrowverse. But all of that brings us all the way back. A suit to me never makes the character makes the suit.
Sure.
And I am very prepared to pretend I've loved this suit from the moment I saw it. If that movie is half as good as I hope it can be. And unfortunately, this is one of those times where I am itching to see footage. I am itching to be. I cannot wait. And I try not to watch trailers. I'm just so excited.
Scratch the itch. Or...
I have a real live action Superman like burning. Yeah. Because I remember when, again, to really quickly name drop it, but the Arrowverse did like a Kingdom Come-esque Superman, but they used Brandon Routh. And I was so excited to see him get another bite at the Superman apple, and the episodes were awful. And he does good again, but like he always does good. Like Ellis said, like the fucking guy can't get a decent script to save his life. And our boy Christian from the James
Hey, what's up,
live from the Super Stash podcast, writer, director, filmmaker, all around swell guy. You have to remember that these costumes look better in movement. And my problem with that, Christian, because I don't disagree with you, they all do look better in movement.
Sure.
Except they're coming from 4-color funny books. I want that poster image. I want him fucking with his hands on his hips, saving the fucking day. And I want to feel what I felt the first time that first hand-me-down Superman comic you gave me.
You're welcome.
When I opened that fucker up, this is Mullet Superman, if I'm remembering correctly. I still remember.
Oh my God.
I still remember just like my fucking tits got blown back because I'm like, look at this Superman. He's the number one superhero for a fucking reason. And you can argue you have a character you prefer, but this motherfucker is the
he's the alpha.
He is the alpha. He is the tip of the spear.
And Christian, I want to come back and I agree with you absolutely. And Charlie, they absolutely do look best in motion because we're not going to a museum, the New York Comic Book Museum library that we were talking about. But on the same token, this was the image that they chose to push to the forefront. And my thinking was, this is the best. This was the best level of expectation that we should have.
I like teasers.
And what I thought was, okay, well, this is not so much, even though that's what the tweet, because I refuse to call them anything else. The tweet that dropped was like, oh, here it is. Like, here's your look. I think that was less about the actual costume and more about like, look, this is the vibe. Superman's going to have to do some shit. There's something's going to happen. It's involved. He's got to get to work.
Some high stakes.
Which I mean, everything Superman touches is high stakes.
Including Lois. What's up?
I mean, look, she's like, if you do not do a good job by Lois, she is a reporter, man.
That's true.
Her job is to tell people some shit. So your one and done is not going to be private information. I wasn't off the record.
I'm going to give up my final thought. Instead, I'm going to give it to our new friend.
How many final thoughts do you want?
Well, I want Kit Crash to take the official final thought.
Fine,
from
but
me.
it was like technically my topic. But all right, sure.
No, but
Kit Crash,
you get the final
welcome
thought.
To the party.
You get this. That's how
it's too late. Do it.
To me, it says a lot that Christopher Reeve his suit still holds up as. I'm going to edit his thought.
How do you edit the man's thought?
Easy. Still holds up as the best. I think the most definitive and the most spectacular. John?
Yeah, no, I think it stands to reason that the Chris Reeve suit has. It's really just been at this point so like brain wormed into us that's truly our level of expectation. Again, none of these other, and this is my math for it. None of the other suits that we have seen, whether we like them and some people hated them or vice versa, or if it was universally loved or universally detested, none of them, other than the Chris Reeve suit, was reflected in the comic books to match what we saw on the screen, whether it was movie screen, whether it was small screen, whether it was whatever. It was so accepted. People just digested it like, yeah, it was a little bit of medicine, but a spoonful of sugar. We drank it down, and and we just lived by it. But again, my final thought is ultimately I want a great story. I want the Superman that we know to be put in a situation where like, oh shit, what would Superman do? So how he's gussied up. Like I love when Clark is doing Superman shit, dressed from work. He's got his fucking tie on and like
you mean your outfit right now?
Yeah, exactly.
What's under that shirt?
He could pull off lilac.
You wear it.
I want a good flick, and even though I might disagree with some of these costume choices, I still very much and firmly believe in James Gunn. I know that he's gonna deliver the Superman that we expect. That's gonna titillate and excite us again. So you know, I'm not quite so shallow as all that. I might have done things a little bit differently, but James Gunn has the wheel. He's gonna get us home.
John, let's pay some bills. Just like Superman, fucking, he works all goddamn day entertaining us for a reason.
Lois pays.
That's true. Well, she's the better of the two. John, I got good news. Hopefully, much like James Gunn, who hopefully isn't a sellout, we're also not sellouts. We're not just going to tell you some shit that someone threw us a couple shekels. We're going to tell you about some of our absolute favorite shit. And the shekels are none of your goddamn business. We are once again brought to you by one of our absolute favorite bands, and that, of course, is Bad Mary. You heard them during the intro. You're going to hear them again at the end of the show. If you're wondering where else you can catch their act, you can find them over at Bad Mary Band across all social media platforms. Support them over on patreon.com/Bad Mary Band. You can stay up to date. BadMary.com for merch and upcoming performances. My favorite part, though, and I say it every single week, the fact that all of their songs, even like the remakes and the classics, are available across all music streaming services. I live and die with music in my background, and they fill that void.
You really do. Even when he's taking a shower at full volume, shaking the walls, he's listening to some shit. But it also leaves the question, where we dropping, as always, it is with the Sarge. You can find him streaming mostly these days over on kick.com. Just an outstanding gamer. He's just real. He doesn't bullshit with you. You don't always have to agree with his opinions, but you're always going to know what his opinion is. Just dynamite gamer. He has fun with the games. He plays, Call of Duty and Fortnite, and he's playing some Division 2 right now. Just killing it. Also, as well as over on Twitch, we have Jokers_stream, predominantly a Fortnite gamer. Just a hell of a lot of fun. He's a fantastic cosplayer and like two great tastes that taste great together. Often he will cosplay while streaming. Just great entertaining cats. And nowadays, look, little entertainment, you take it where you can get it.
It's true.
These are two solid destinations.
I'm all about the bats.
Hell, bats is no joke.
Bats is the jam.
Bats is no joke.
I did want to just throw this out before moving on to our final topic of the day. It's X. Calling you Twitter is like calling Ali Clay. If his mama called him Clash, I'm going to call him Clash. John, do me a favor. Can you hit that button that's just glowing right over there? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Oh my God. You are very, I'm going to make you some money, sir. Can I ride in this elevator with you?
We'll see.
Every single week, John and I take turns pitching a movie just for you. In some instances, we have to tell you what the original was. We have to explain to you what came before it. Not this week, baby, because not only am I talking about a sequel, I'm talking about the 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm not even talking about the fifth because you've already paid someone else, not the original Wachowski siblings. You paid someone else to whip up Matrix 5, so I'm bringing to you my pitch for Matrix 5.2, which is a film that will take place after the next Matrix film. Because when you're making money, you want to make lots of money. So since we're stuck in this elevator together, the rules are simple. I'm going to try to pitch you a movie. You might have some notes at the end, and at the end, you get to decide whether or not
likely
this movie should be made. I am going to encourage, since I do have my executive producer, Christian Gordez, in the house, I am going to rely on him to do drop-ins and help pump up the script. But John, imagine, if you will, a world where we stop running away from sequels that came before it. Sometimes on this show, we have to say, hey, Get out of here, other sequel. You're inconvenient or arguably...
Just ignore that. Pretend that didn't happen.
Arguably terrible. And I do know that Matrix 4 is divisive. Fucking hell. Matrix 2 and 3 are divisive. There's one film that stands above all, and that, of course, is the first Matrix. So even though we're taking everything into account, we're going to have that Matrix 1 vibe. We're going to have...
Oh, this strip. Sorry.
Nice. My man. We're going to have...
My S.
I get it. I totally get it. John, we are going back to the beginning by way of the end. We are going to open up with a CGI made to look all youthful. It's going to be a moment that happened in the first Matrix film that we never saw. Mm-hmm. We're going to be on the Nebuchadnezzar, which is going to be a nice throwback. We're going to trick some people into being like, Nebuchadnezzar's back. It's not back. It's a flashback. We're doing a new movie that takes place in the past.
What's this called?
The Nebuchadnezzar. Did I say it wrong the first time? The Nebuchadnezzars. We are going...
The Ebenezer Scrooge.
We open up our film with a conversation between Neo and Morpheus, and we're going back to our original casting. We got the original Morpheus in all of his glory, but we're making him look the way he did when the first Matrix film came out. And it's Neo, fresh out of the pod. He hasn't fucking saved the world. He hasn't had magic powers. He hasn't come back after being dead, but then he's back again. Now he has long hair and he knows Kung Fu, but he knows use Kung Fu. We're going all the way back to that Neo. And our movie basically is going to be an early adventures of Morpheus film. So our film takes place, because we're Matrix 5.2, we are going to have... Kid Crash, hopefully I'm going to be your guy. We are going to have 5 major parts to our film that play almost as like replays or variants of themselves. These are early days of Morpheus trying to find Neo. Our film is going to be the 5 previous potential ones that we learn about.
Oh, interesting.
Not the ones from the Matrix, but they make a big deal. One of the members of the Nebuchadnezzar, one of the crewmates, wind up turning on them in the first Matrix. If you remember...
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert. So we're going to see young members of everyone but Neo. Because we're going to see them, they're going to have Trinity younger. They're going to have everybody. The crew is all back in their wonderful, occasionally non-binary selves. So our film is going to keep showing people that they tried to recruit as the one. So we're going to see the first kind of big thing that we see Morpheus recruit Trinity. So we get this awesome scene of Trinity in
Did he think Trinity was the one?
He didn't. That's just him just saving us. So she's one that falls outside. Yeah, she's the one, all right.
Let's pull her out.
But we are going to have a little bit of a through line of a love story. So Trinity, in my version of the Matrix, was like the 4th crew member that we knew. So I forget his name right now, and of course my notes froze. But the member of the crew that turned on them, played by Palmati, someone help me out in the chat, because I'm forgetting both his name in the movie and his name in real life. You know, he yells at Martin Lawrence and Will Smith every few years.
I was getting them all in before you came.
So he's basically just
Zephyr?
Cypher. Good man. It's Cypher. So Cypher is... It's Cypher. I'm 90%. We're going to say it's Cypher, and then we're going to correct it in post.
But whoever it is.
He is
captain.
He is basically... he is Morpheus's number 2. This was an early person that Morpheus freed. We're going to see their relationship. It's a very, like, leader-student, but they're, like, basically peers at this point. And when they free Trinity, you immediately see what's going to start as a budding romance. He clearly loves Trinity.
He's got feelings for Trinity. She doesn't reciprocate.
Exactly correct. And we kind of see that conclusion when he's creepily laying on top of her in the Matrix. We're going to see how it started. We're going to see how they started as friends. We're going to see them work together. There we go.
Thank you, Kid Crash.
Isn't Cypher what I said? Cypher's definitely what I said. You don't give me...
Did I say Zephyr at first?
I think so. Because you're down with the Z.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So we're gonna get our cake, and
I'm surprised too.
We're gonna get to eat it too, because we're gonna meet members that would have been on the Nebuchadnezzar, but we're also gonna see people fucking die left and right. What I want to do is I want to show this war. We've already, because of Matrix 2 and 3, we got to see it in the real world.
Sure.
We never really got to see the war in the first Matrix movie. We see some agents, but I want to see the recruiting process. I want to see Morpheus slowly become more and more the Morpheus we know. But what I really want to focus on, even though for me, this is a Morpheus movie, because I think that character's so dynamic. The glasses are so cool. Let's be honest, he just looks so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And getting a younger actor to play him with that same almost doing an impersonation vibe, this is gonna be a lot of fucking fun. Two, you know, machine guns.
So wait. So you said that we're seeing the young version, but we're not bringing back the original cast.
We're bringing back the original cast for our framing device. So they're going to be kind of youthed up because again, this takes place. He is telling these stories to Neo during the first Matrix, but they're about Morpheus's origin.
Right.
So we're gonna have
when we go back, when we flash back, it's a different actor.
It's gonna be younger actors because I'm gonna beat the shit out of them. I'm doing wire work. I'm doing everything in frame. I'm not doing any of this CGI bullshit. I want to go back to the kind of beginning. I want that gritty feel. I want to destroy sets because I think a big part of the first Matrix,
you're a fucking massacre,
and also the first Matrix, that scene when they're breaking into the building to save Morpheus. There's a reason that's such a classic scene. It's because it was textile. It was physical. They actually blew up some walls. They had shit falling apart, and you just can't do that. Joe Pantaleone, I don't care how much you use CG to make him look younger. The guy's an adult male now. You know, I'm not going to use the word old.
He's old.
You're going to break hips if you use them. So we're going to see. And again, I'm not going to do that thing where I shy away from people kind of doing impersonations. I kind of want them to feel like the character.
Yeah, act like Joe.
Yeah, I'm going to get the best person to act like Joe to be Joe. And what the villain in the film, of course, is the agents. We're going to see earlier versions of the fucking agents. We're going to have one that kind of looks like Smith, just periodically show up. He won't be the main antagonist. Because what we're going to see is all that stuff that got left out. We're going to see Cypher slowly start to be like, yo, Morpheus is full of shit. He promised me freedom. This blows. She doesn't fucking love me because and the reason in his head that she doesn't love him is because the Oracle, who's also back, again, doing the impersonation, the Oracle tells her, like, you're going to love the one. And fucking Cypher was never the one. So he feels like, well, you told her fucking bullshit destiny. He had told me that I was going to be free, so we're going to see him turn. And we're going to see that maybe he was fucking part of the problem early on. But we're also going to get a fun fucking action movie that the stakes, again, the problem with prequels a lot of times, we know Trinity's going to live. We know Cypher's going to live. We know Morpheus is going to fucking live. But everyone else, you have fucking free reign to save or kill. So I think we still are able to introduce you to characters that you can fall in love with. Well, but the stakes are fucking, it's war, baby.
It does also work the other way because it's kind of like the Grogu effect, where like you know what the timeline looks like, and you say, "Well, shit, where the hell is he or she?"
Yeah,
because we still don't know at this point.
That's true.
So, knowing somebody is not in the future adventures, does kind of say, "Oh, that person's done for."
Yeah,
you know. So,
and I think Kit Crash brings up a great point. The big problem is how do we replicate that groundbreaking impact? And I think at this point, we haven't had a really good wire fu movie in a minute. The John Wick films,
not in this country,
gun fu. Exactly right. So I think what we do is we pull it all the way back. We have fun with figuring out how are we going to make dynamic cinematography. So right out of the gate,
yeah. But is that your goal of your flick, or is it to tell a story?
The goal of my flick is to really honor the first Matrix, which I don't think they have done. I don't think any of the sequels have that same grit and feel and like that question mark of like, what the fuck is going on? And I think by allowing Cypher to start working with the agents early, maybe the last one fully got set up by Cypher. And Cypher was able to keep his hands clean. And this way, by the time Neo, he has to take it upon himself because, again, it's not working out. I think it allows us to have all the fun with the toy box that is Matrix without feeling the need to push the movie forward. It fills in a blank that maybe no one's clamoring for more Morpheus, but I think that's because it's never been offered.
Morpheus is the delivery system. So while he's a great character all on his own, without Neo, the character, ultimately could be any one of the however many captains that they had. I do have two requests.
Yeah.
I need far more real world action than what we've gotten, because even the real world that we eventually saw they screwed up my idea.
I mean, your ending is the best ending in fiction.
But I need the Nebuchadnezzar in action. I want it to be like it was it was an episode of Firefly. Like I need that built in. Also, as well as I very much like your. Actually, I've got 3 requests.
Yeah, I like
the first one is the real life. I want real world action as well. So it's a little bit more grounded. You can't jump across from building to building.
Yeah.
Here, I do need Lawrence Fishburne, if only
100%.
for a voiceover. So if he's telling the story and now you're seeing the younger actors, fine. But for the setups and things like that, Lawrence is a mandatory inclusion. Otherwise, you don't have a.
I mean, I wouldn't dare exclude him.
And lastly, for the scope that you're talking about, this ain't a movie.
Oh, can I do a series?
This is a premium channel series.
To keep
maybe it's a limited series.
Yeah.
Like.
Can I just do 5?
Can
I keep my title?
I don't know if you can. You can do 5.2 and then have the last one.
Like a teaser.
Yeah, it's too much story to tell.
Okay.
Especially because you're automatically telling it in chapter form. And then this was this, and this was this.
Well,
and then
one thing I think that would really work in either version, because I get more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know me. What I kind of want is I want there to be this fucking great Lawrence Fishburne moment at the end, wherein talking to Neo and trying to have you ever hyped up someone and accidentally shoved someone else down? Not intentionally.
Sure.
But it happens at work a lot, where you're elevating one salesperson.
Yeah.
What I want Cypher. And again, this is where we get to pay Pantaleon. Again, CGI reduced back to what he looked like in the first Matrix. He's been listening the whole fucking time. So Morpheus is having this private conversation with Neo, and creepy Cypher is now
towards the end of the series,
and not only
fucking the camel that broke the straw's back.
And he already decided that he's working with the machines.
Right.
But the reason that in the Matrix he's so fucking aggressive, leaving his phone for them to track, straight up fucking unplugging. I think if you add that element of the reason it finally hit fuck you all status was the salt on the wound of Morpheus telling the story about other Neos that came before. There were fucking 5 of them.
Can I?
Yeah, please.
Can I say a little more calmly that you end up realizing that throughout the series, and you do need those critical fucking aha moments, without realizing it fully, Morpheus was on to him.
Ooh, I love that.
So he's peppering something or somebody. Somehow this happened. Somehow the fucking Emperor returned. Those have to be in there, which force Cypher's hand, and that's the fucking that's the buildup. Now again, this is any great tragedy. We keep on seeing these same tragic stories. We know how they're gonna end, but because the method and the expertise and the artistry that they're telling us the story in make it worth the while to sit there regale me more, give me more details. I think that's how you do it. So if you can grant me those 3 wishes, I'll rub the fucking lamp.
Done.
And I will sign that check.
We got what? I'm gonna accept my check.
You can't but me once you take the check, bro.
But you want to know what the point 2 is?
Yes.
The point 2 is the last episode when we're following another one. It's actually going to be how they originally found Neo. So we're literally gonna butt right up to the film. We're gonna see the adventure that precedes him delivering the phone.
Sure. Well, it's got to be the hello. That's how you end. That's how you end.
Fucking credits. Perfectly timed. I know you didn't hear it, but perfectly timed. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you at least had a little bit of fun with that little bit of insanity. I do think it would help bring Matrix back to the glory it deserves. But there's a Matrix 5 coming out. They're working on it now. I was very surprised, and I had to kind of change my shit because they stole some of my ideas already. The Wachowski's not involved.
Join the club.
You are notorious for that. John, thank you so much for the bucket load of money. I think if anyone has a question about a super suit ever, they can just rewatch our middle segment because that deep dive will be available in perpetuity. But we want to know what you think. Did you see Fall Guy? Will you see Fall Guy?
See it.
We're insisting that you do it.
See it in the movies.
Would you see My Matrix film? And most importantly, I think, what is your absolute favorite super suit? We are available on all social media. USComics HQ. Mostly Instagram and Facebook, easy place to find us. Kit Crash, thank you so much for joining us as always. Christian, Ellis, Cousin Paul, the chattiest Cathys in the group, but we absolutely love you. Make sure you rate, comment, subscribe. John, finally, we've hit that line.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell him how we do it, but I need you to show him how to do it. There's a few simple steps. A very simple way that we end each and every episode of US Comics Cast. John, if you will. First, you got to turn the power on. Then you got to tune Mary Mary and open up the window wide and scream out into that night sky. Save Miss Space Cat. We out.